An amazing story of survival from the storms. Listen to this. A Kentucky mother pulled her 2-year-old from the debris after a tornado destroyed their home. Friday night, Tara Hollifield was in bed, alerted by the sound of wind and frantic texts from family members. She realized the storm was coming right toward her home. She rushed to get her son, but the storm hit first.
It flew me all up in the air, and when I landed, I stood immediately up and I went to go look for him.
She found her baby in a pile of debris. He needed a few stitches, but will be okay.
And good evening, everyone. We have a newly issued tornado warning. That cell I just mentioned is now under a tornado warning for Butler County, also Armstrong County. Addis Uklo and Stephanie Allison are going to join me here, and we'll get you posted on the track of this storm as it continues to move east-northeast. And part of the problem is it continues its slow drift, and it is going to be an impact to areas, as you can see there, in Butler County, also in Armstrong County. Let me get you going here, and Stephanie and Addis, as we get new information, you guys jump in for sure, as we want to let folks know about a newly issued tornado warning. This for Butler County, also for the western edge there of Armstrong County. The time on the tornado warning continues through the next, it'll last until 5 o'clock. So the next 25 minutes, especially for areas in Butler. And I'm going to drop in here and give you just kind of the overview. This is the tornado warned storm that I pointed out there a moment ago. Addis Uklo and Stephanie and I were just watching it. It is starting to show some signatures where it is showing a little bit of what might be a couplet. But at the same time, it's raining so hard there, it may end up being one of the rain wrap type tornadoes. So if you're watching us from Butler, this is coming up on you. Also areas right around Butler, just to the south there, it appears that part of the storm is starting to show a little bit of a signature for what could be a tornado. I'm going to drop in on a different radar perspective here and get, let's see if we can pull up some sort of velocity on this. And this is a radar image that lets us see inside the storm so we can better pick up those areas. So just to the north of Butler, Muddy Creek, it is just to the south of you, also headed towards Chicora, and we'll get a track on that. And Stephanie, I believe you were saying it's about a 20-mile-per-hour movement?
Yes, about east-northeast at about 20.
All right, I did go 25 there, but Chicora, Karnes City, you are in the path of this tornado. Also Grease City and Troutman, as that storm continues to track to the south and to the southeast. Looking at Muddy Creek, it's just to your south there, and it doesn't look to be as tight as it was just a moment ago with some of the circulation. But once again, there's so much heavy rain in that area, it might be obscuring some of the radar images, but you can clearly make out that headed towards Chicora, between Bruin and Chicora, it's time for you to be taking shelter, as we've been watching these cells just sort of spin up fairly quickly and hold together well. Addis, Stephanie, any new information from the Weather Service? I assume this is Doppler radar indicated, correct?
Yes, so tornado warning based on radar indicated rotation. I was just looking, Stephen, to see if there was any possible indication of any sort of debris. Radar can detect when there's debris lofted in the air. I'm not seeing that right now, so it does purely just look to be radar indicated rotation. And we've seen a number of these notches here, these little kinks within the line over the last 1 to 2 hours, but this has been the strongest one so far. And Stephen, you just put a track up on that storm. It's moving to the north and east.
If you're just joining us, we are under a tornado warning, or Butler County and parts of Armstrong County. And in particular, it's this cluster of heavy rain that is now right across central Butler County and also moving into Katanning and Armstrong counties. There was some signature with that, and if you look closely, you can almost make out there right south of Muddy Creek what might be a little bit of a connection going on. And as I drop in the radar, we can see on the velocity that the couplet itself is not quite as distinct but it is still north of Butler. So actually it's the northern portion of Butler. Addis, you have some new information?
Well, I just wanted to kind of really hone in on what's happening here with this particular cell, because it is moving pretty quickly off to the north and east. So here's Butler. The main area of rotation is actually just north of Butler right now. So everything is kind of coming through in this line right now. But within this line, we've seen these embedded circulations, and this one has been strong enough for the National Weather Service to put out a tornado warning. If we could flip over to the other MAC source, I just want to show more specifically where that couplet is. It's right in here. So Muddy Creek is here. Butler is right here. And by the way, the National Weather Service has also been saying they're watching other little notches within this line as well. But this one right in here, Northview, that is where the couplet is right now. So what you're seeing on the radar here is wind that's moving towards the radar. That's that bright green signature. And the red is moving away from the radar. So right where those intersect, that's where we're seeing that couplet, that area of tighter rotation. And it has been, for the most part, holding together. These things tend to kind of wax and wane over time, but you can see that fresh track that we put on there for you. So Karn City, Shakora, this is coming your way here by about 5 o'clock, okay? So you want to make sure if you're living in this tornado warning box, if you got that alert, whether it's from our Severe Weather Team 11 app or if it was the wireless emergency alert that you get on your iPhone, you want to make sure that you're getting into shelter and staying there until this storm passes. Again, everything coming through in a line right now. Butler, you're seeing the very heavy rain. You're hearing the thunder, probably getting some gusty winds, but you are not included, at least where that couplet is. That is just to the north of you. You can kind of see how the radar is wrapping around, so you get that inflow that's going into the storm and where that rotation is. So that's going to continue to move up to the north and east. You can see the radar sweep going through there. I'm going to check to make sure we haven't seen any changes here. Stephen or Stephanie, feel free to chime in here if you have any new information.
Yeah, we'll just do another quick reset here. If you are just joining us, National Weather Service issuing a tornado warning now north of Butler near Muddy Creek, and it is a Doppler radar indicated storm. So this is one that the radar picked up that rotation that we talk about so often. And as Addis was just saying, it's almost moving east-northeast. You can see the red shaded box there as I put the radar in loop for 1 hour over the last hour. It continues to slide just to the north of Butler. This is a storm that will continue to move east and northeast. Let me remove that actual track there for you and get a new one on here so that you're prepared as that part of the storm continues to track through. But the good news is there have been some fluctuations in the intensity of some of the returns that we've seen when it comes to possible rotation. Looking here just to the north, almost a little bit of an eastward jog there, Stephanie and Addis, as we watch that. And that is what oftentimes helps to trigger some of that continued circulation as that part of the storm is rotating in that direction. Any new damage reports or anything of that nature, Stephanie, Addis?
I'm not seeing any right now, Stephen. At this point, it's still a radar indicated tornado, radar indicated rotation. We should get an update here soon. Usually the National Weather Service will post updates in terms of trimming the box down or editing the warning text if they need to. So that should be coming here soon. In fact, at 4:38 p.m., they did issue that update, and a severe thunderstorm capable of producing that tornado was located over Shanner Northview, or this is 6 miles north of Butler. So it is still moving, Stephen, to the north and east at 20 miles per hour. At this point, I have not seen any reports of damage, and I'm closely watching our debris tracker as well. I want to show you that in a minute, but for now, I'll send it back over to you.
Good, good. So if you are still just joining us, or if you are just joining us, that particular cell, as Addis was mentioning, just to the south of Muddy Creek, north of Butler. So Butler, it's just to your north, but it is headed towards Chicora, potentially having some heavier downpours and some larger hail in there as well. So getting a little bit more of a circulation potential there as it's tracking to the east. Stephanie, new information there?
Yes, Stephen, so I just wanted to go back over where this tornado warning is and show you the box. So the folks living north of Butler now, and you can see the box has trimmed back a little bit. But I just want to give you some areas and some towns where if you're in this tornado warning, you need to be in the lowest level of your home. Basement is a great place to be. That's where you want to be if you have one. north view, it does include West Sunbury, Greece City there, Karnes City, also Peaceful Valley. And so this is tracking with the latest at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. It's kind of been that speed at 20 to 30 miles per hour. And so we are watching that as it continues to track to the east-northeast. So let me just see here if we have some new information. And about northeasterly moving at about 30 is what we're looking at as that warning continues. So I'm going to show you here the radar of where we have that heavier rain as well. So likely we were talking that it is rain wrapped with the heavy downpours coming with it. And so, Stephen, do you have any new information that you're looking at here currently?
Just watching what could be some hail mixed in with that. So within a matter of 10 minutes or so, the conditions will quickly deteriorate, going from some lighter rain out ahead of that to some heavier downpours in the brighter red, and then what potentially could be a tornado based on radar that continues to track east and northeast at last check about 30 miles per hour. This particular radar image does show the potential for some rotation. Haven't seen the distinct tight bright reds with the bright greens, but clearly still holding together with some circulation as that part of the storm is tracking east and to the northeast. Let me get a little closer look there and see if we can drop in on that as it is tracking in that particular direction. The interesting thing about these storms, they've been part of a line that developed across parts of West Virginia. Earlier this afternoon, if you were out, you likely saw the sunshine, and as mentioned, that was part of the concern with the way that storms would possibly develop today. And unfortunately, that sunshine just helped things really elaborate and grow. And what we've seen right there, it looks like there might be a little bit of a kink, but the heavy rain is, as Stephanie and Addis were saying, sort of masking what could be the solid part of the couplet. Once again, tornado warning. This is continuing for another 15 minutes. It does include Butler County, and really the heart of the storm is north of Butler, 422 here, and you can see it's tracking towards Chicora. What really has been a good visual is the way that this particular rotating winds map is showing that bit of what could be a couplet kind of lined up there just to the north of Chicora, and it is continuing to track east and to the northeast as that part of the storm continues to slide in that direction. Stephanie, Addis, any new information there that you are getting?
I have not seen any new information in terms of the actual warning box, but if we flip over to our other weather source, if we could flip over to Weather 2, that would be fantastic, because I want to show you kind of more of the in-depth towns and some of the cities that are impacted by this warning box right now. This is a tornado warning that continues. Again, if we could flip this over to our other weather source, just so I can, Weather 4, can we flip over to Weather 4, please? Just so that I can get a better view on the velocity. Perfect. Thank you so much. Our director's having to bear with us here as we're watching this thing from multiple angles. So this is really, I think, the best view of what we're seeing right now. And in fact, over the last 15 or 20 minutes, you can really kind of see how all of the radar colors are circulating there. So again, the green radar indicating wind going towards the radar, red is away. So there's West Sunbury, there's your tornado polygon here. That's the tornado warning. So if you're under this, Wally Mill out towards Karnes City, you're just included in that. Troutman, you want to make sure that you're in a safe place. And especially around our area where the terrain is rough, you cannot see this coming, and especially on a day like today where we have a lot of moisture in the lower atmosphere, a lot of low clouds around. It's raining out ahead of these storms, so you're not really going to be able to see this coming. So you want to make sure, if you are in this warning, that you're getting inside into a safe place now. Remember, lowest floor, interior room, so you want to be away from windows and basically putting as many walls between you and the outside as you can. And really, over that last scan, you can kind of see how it's becoming a lot more symmetrical again. And there's another piece that we can look at in our toolkit, which shows if there's possible debris, and it's called correlation coefficient. And so what this shows is if there is any sort of debris, anything non-meteorological lofted into the air, it would show up as some sort of a darker blue or gray circle. We're not seeing signs of that right now. We are getting a little bit further away from the radar as we're looking into northern Butler County. Does not mean that there is no danger of a tornado, just means that maybe it's not confirmed at this point, at least to be on the ground. But certainly based on the last signature that I showed you, really over that last loop there, Steve, you can really see how that's still holding together. So those of you just to the south of West Sunbury, moving off to the north and east, Wally Mill, Troutman, this is northeastern Butler County. You want to make sure you're taking the storm seriously and make sure you're staying in a safe place until this passes on by. Stephen?
Yeah, Addis, the way that is starting to come together, you're correct. And my anticipation is that likely that tornado warning, if the signature continues as you just showed, will be continued for areas to the east and northeast. So at this point, tornado warning for another 11 minutes, but my anticipation is that based on the way that that is moving, that we may end up with the tornado warning expanding to the east and to the northeast. Once again, if you're just jumping in with us, the tornado warning continues for Butler County, also for areas in Lawrence or parts of Armstrong County, and that system has been producing what is evident as a possible tornado across parts of Butler County. And as Addis was just saying there, with that heavier downpour, you can hardly see what would be a clear couplet on this particular radar image. But as you take a look at a different image, you can make out that that system is producing what could be a couplet and some stronger winds. Stephanie, any new information there?
No, I don't, but I would like to reset and let everybody know what's going on here as we have a kind of a wider view of the radar here to show you the folks that are in some heavier rain and also lightning. If you're just joining us now, we have, of course, the flash flood warning that continues to the north through Lawrence County. But I want to talk about still this this next line that's going to come through Washington County. So that is actually associated with the cold front that's going to be moving through here. And so as that moves through right now, it is not severe, but certainly watching for the potential there as those storms are tracking to the east. So you can see this line up from really to our far north counties. So through I-80, Venango, down through Butler, where we have the tornado warning currently, and then that line extending down through Armstrong, Indiana, and then tracking off towards the ridges. We also have some heavier rainfall down through Morgantown, Westmoreland County, and then of course let's reset to the tornado warning again that is for Butler County. So that continues until 5 o'clock. We are watching for new updates for that to get extended, but that does include West Sunbury there, Peaceful Valley, Karn City as well, Greece City as well. And as this is moving through, Jamesonville is under that. If you are in this tornado warning for northeastern Butler County, so you need to be in the lowest level of your home and be in a safe spot, so your basement is the best place to be. We are going to continue to watch this, Stephen and Addis, and may have some more information that has been just issued.
Yes. Just continuing to watch, as Stephanie was saying there, the tornado warning continues until 5 o'clock. Have not seen an extension of the tornado warning, but based on some of the low-level circulation, there could be an extension into the northern part of Armstrong County and stretching up towards Clarion. So if you are still watching from areas to the north of this particular tornado warning system, be on the lookout there, especially as it's coming into Chicora now. This core of the system has included so much heavy rain that has made it difficult to really make out a distinct tornadic signature. This particular storm was Doppler radar indicated based on what could have been some rotation, and because the rain is so heavy, we haven't seen that real solid hook type echo, but we have seen a continuation beneath the rain within the wind part of the storm of what could be a connection of a couplet between winds going to and away from the radar. Looks a little weaker at this point, so that is great news. However, Muddy Creek, it's already been through your area. It appears as though the strongest part of the storm is east of you, but it is still holding together and moving east eventually towards East Brady. If you are in a safe place and you do have some damage or you have some reports, please send those to us at hashtag WPXI Storm. That way we can let other people know what that particular part of the storm could be bringing. About 7 minutes left on a tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh. This one for northern Butler County and parts of Armstrong County, and it is weakening a little bit, but it does continue until 5 o'clock. It's all been part of a line of storms that really have held together well. And if you look at some of the last 1 hour movement, you can almost make out the circulation there coming into southern Butler County as that storm continues to congeal. And that was part of the issue today. We saw several of these types of movements in the radar, which would indicate some circulation. And the cell that the National Weather Service ended up triggering the warning for is now moving to the east and to the northeast. Heavy rainfall has also been part of the story today. Flash flood warning continues for several counties as a result of the heavy rain that has fallen. And as we've watched on radar, that actually masks sometimes what is a solid indication of a tornado. But even so, be aware that just to the east there of Muddy Creek, that particular cell is continuing to track towards you. Coming up on 5 minutes left on a tornado warning that is in place. The cell seems to be weakening a little bit, but it will continue to slide eastward, and as it does so, it's going to produce what could be some stronger gusty winds with it. The flash flood warning that I mentioned is in effect for counties where that rain has been so heavy. Newcastle, parts of Butler County, right just to the west of where that cell is moving through, and that flash flood warning continues until 6:45. Let me back up here and get you an update on what we're looking at in terms of the tornado warning. The tornado warning continues until 5 o'clock, so we have about 4 more minutes left on this particular warned storm. It does appear as though it's weakening a little bit, but even so, be on the lookout as you're watching us east of Muddy Creek. That particular warning will be allowed, as it looks now, likely to expire at 5 o'clock, but we are watching that part of the storm closely for you. Addis, some new information?
Nothing yet, but we are going to be watching to see what the National Weather Service does here in the next few minutes. So really one of a few things is going to happen. Either they're going to let this tornado warning expire and they will not issue a downstream warning, or what they could also do is extend the tornado warning box into parts of Clarion County, so those of you up near Interstate 80, or what they could also do is attach a severe thunderstorm warning to it with a tornado possible tag. Either way, those of you who are watching us from southern Clarion County, you would be next in line. But of course, all the attention right now is on that area north of Butler. It's the rural part of Butler County, but of course, still many people affected. I just want to let you know that this is the only active severe thunderstorm or tornado warning that we are watching right now. You get a lot of heavy rain as you're heading east into parts of Armstrong, Indiana, eastern Westmoreland County, another little batch moving into Washington County, but this right now is the only area that we are concerned for the development of a possible tornado. And I want to kind of again zoom in and show you exactly what we're talking about. This right here is Pennsylvania Route 30. This right here is Pennsylvania Route 138, and you can see that couplet, wind moving away from the radar and wind moving toward the radar. So Pleasant, Peaceful Valley, you would be next. There's Fairview Road that takes you up to Wally Mill. You are next in line. So based on the movement here, it'll probably be over top of you in about the next 5 or 10 minutes. There has been no official confirmation of a tornado yet. Stephen, maybe you have something different.
No confirmation yet, Addis, but they did issue the National Weather Service saying they are going to let it expire. So you were correct, as those two scenarios were in play there. The storm weakening with that particular part of the couplet, and it is going to be allowed to expire at 5 o'clock. Even so, you're still going to get thumped with some very heavy rainfall, some frequent lightning headed over to Chicora and eventually into Armstrong County as that part of the storm tracks through. But as Addis was just noting there, that part of the storm is weakening with its rotation, which is great news. So the tornado warning will be allowed to expire here in the next 2.5 minutes. It will be allowed to expire, but the heavy rain will continue for those areas. And at the same time, we've been watching this corridor of heavy rain now tracking east of Pittsburgh. Pretty substantial rain in many areas now, tracking just to the east of Pittsburgh, with the possibility there for some continued localized flooding. In fact, the flash flood warning continues for those areas of Newcastle and Butler. Stephanie.
Stephen, I just want to reset the radar here to get everybody up to speed on what's going on. We have that heavy rain as well with the tornado warning moving through the area, and that's through Butler County, also Lawrence and Beaver County as well. You have a secondary line starting to develop just in portions of Beaver down through Washington. And so Beaver, you just have rain moving through, but through the area of Washington, lightning coming back through. And this is associated with the cold front that's going to kind of sweep this all on through. But right now, out ahead of that, we've had that heavier rain, that tornado warning for northern Butler County that is set to expire here very shortly. Heavy rain falling through Armstrong County right now. Also lightning, a big factor outside. So where you are, if you hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning, you need to make sure you move inside and stay safe. And we will have the very latest as we are tracking this moving through the area.
All right, the good news is the tornado warning is going to expire here coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. And as we move into through the 5 o'clock hour, the focus will shift to some heavier downpours. So tornado warning confirming that it has been allowed to expire. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with more on the severe weather threat this afternoon. Severe Weather Team 11 coverage now at 5. I'm tracking a line of storms that could bring damaging winds and heavy rain, possibly even a tornado.
A massive water main break in a local neighborhood. The water practically swallowing cars and causing damage to homes and businesses.
I got customer cars outside my car. It's a mess. It's coming up inside the building.
The unexpected chaos for neighbors after the street flooded and what the next steps are from here.
A local war hero accused of sexually assaulting a teenager.
The serious allegations against a Marine veteran and a double amputee.
Channel 11 News starts with Severe Weather Team 11 coverage.
Right now at 5, western Pennsylvania is getting pounded with storms and heavy rain. And if you're just joining us, we've been tracking that tornado warning for Butler and Armstrong counties that just expired. This is video from our tower camera in Pittsburgh over the past hour.
And a live look at Storm Tracker Doppler 11 radar. Parts of the region, though, most of the region, in fact, remains under a tornado watch. Let's get right to Pittsburgh's Chief Meteorologist Stephen Cropper tracking those storms for us in Severe Weather Center 11. Stephen.
Yeah, Lisa, in the last 1 minute, we've had a tornado warning issued for Allegheny County. So Addis Uklo and Stephanie Allison are going to jump in with me again. This is an active tornado warning. This for Allegheny County as a result of the storm that is tracking just through parts of Washington County, it appears. And Stephanie and Addis, I'll defer to you as we get the latest information on this. But these are storms that have been sort of spinning up, and the cell, Addis and Stephanie, can you help me pinpoint that particular cell?
Storm is actually just south of Pittsburgh. We're talking down towards the Houston area in Washington County. So that is going to be moving east at about 40 miles per hour, just like this last one that we had in effect for Butler County. This is a radar indicated rotation. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was over McGovern or Cannonsburg. So near the Houston area, Cannonsburg area, moving east at 40 miles per hour.
And so this is headed towards Peters at 511, headed over to Jefferson Hills, Elizabeth, and West Newton by 543. This is an active tornado warning for a cell that is showing some signs of rotation coming just to the north of Washington, sort of to the south and to the southwest of Bethel Park, but headed towards Nottingham. Some of the radar indication has been for these storms to show some signatures of rotation with them, and that's how the National Weather Service has been triggering these. But I want to get down to Allegheny County in specific, and that storm that I just pointed out, a newly issued tornado warning. This is a cell that is showing a little bit of circulation with it right around McGovern towards Peters and tracking to the east. Stephanie, Addis, as you get some new information, jump in.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and look a little bit closer of the warning box. The folks that are in the warning box, this is when you need to take action and get to the lowest level of your home and the basement. This storm is moving over 79 there, north of Washington through the Houston and also Meadowlands area, right over 19 into Peters Township there, and also part of Union Township. And I'm going to kind of zoom in here because this does include Venetia, Union Township there, also Jefferson Hills. You're in portions of this warning as well, and down towards Forward, that's in southern Allegheny County, and also including here as we're moving through Nottingham, but also I really want to talk about this is moving over 79. I'm going to kind of widen the view so you have a little bit better of an idea. You have 79 there coming out of Washington County there. That is moving right over in North Strabane Township, and that is headed into McMurray, Peters Township, and Venetia as well. So this storm is tracking to the east. If you are in that warning box, you need to get to the lowest level of your home. Stephen, you have some more information for us now.
Yeah, Stephanie, this is a line of storms, as we mentioned earlier, that's been tracking across from the west and from the southwest. If we could drop that banner just for a quick moment so I can show. Thank you. This is the tornado warning until 5:30. So another 26 minutes or so for Allegheny, Washington, and Westmoreland. So if you're watching us just north of Washington and areas that continue to track basically through Nottingham, it looks like the couplet might be trying to come together there on the northern flank of that as it's moving what appears to be almost into the South Hills here in short order at about 35 to 40 miles per hour at last check. So with that in mind, that southern part of the storm does not appear to have the same circulation, but even so, that watch box has been issued for a wide swath that would, as I mentioned, take it into South Park, Jefferson Hills, Elizabeth, even into McKeesport as that system continues to track to the east. If you watch closely as this radar updates here, we are starting to see what appears to be a little bit of a notch almost right there that could be indicative of some rotation with it. And that's how the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh triggered that, kind of showing you that same image on a different perspective. This is, as we've been following through the day, inside the storm. And while I'm not seeing a strong green and red couplet there, we could still be in a situation where we just have some tremendous amounts of rain and the radar unable to pick that up. Even so, as you are out and about here going into the next 45 minutes or at least the next 25, and you're watching us from southern Allegheny County, tornado warning is in effect. This does continue until 5:30 for those areas in Allegheny County, also parts of Washington County. Addis, Stephanie, any new information there?
Yeah, we have a live view, I believe. Let's go ahead and take a look at that of 79 there towards Canonsburg. So this is, I'm just looking at this with you right now to show you, you know, just heavy rain, of course, that's moved over this location. I'm not exactly what short mile marker we're at here if someone has that information. 43. So we're going to continue to watch this, but you know, we have heavy rain along with this moving through, and so it may be hard to see if there is a tornado as well. It may be rain wrapped as well. So we're looking at that moving through, and folks moving through 79 there on 19 as well. Heavy rain as well moving through, so that's going to reduce visibility, cause ponding on the roadways, so make sure you take it slow. But if you are in that warn box, you need to be inside in the lowest level in a sturdy building. Addis?
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie, for the information. Wanted to kind of give you some more perspective on exactly where this is. So those of you in southern Allegheny County are included in this box. Now, this does not include you in Bethel Park. This does not include you in Dormont or Mount Lebanon. This is for the far southern tip of Allegheny County. So Elizabeth is here, Forward Township just south of there. You are included in this box. It's a narrow box, but it's narrow because the National Weather Service is pretty confident on its exact speed and movement, okay? So it's moving through North Strabane right now. It just went over Interstate 79 and it's pushing to the east at about 40 miles per hour. Just like what we did with the last warning, we always want to show you what's going on in terms of the winds inside the storm. North Strabane, it's pretty much over top of you right now. So if you know anybody in this area, if you know anybody just east, okay, so we're looking out towards Peters Township, Thomas, you want to make sure you give them a heads up. You don't want to be driving through this, and if you are at home right now, you want to make sure that you're in a safe place listening to us as the storm is approaching. Again, that couplet right in here, it's been pretty tight here. We're about the last 10 minutes. Interestingly enough, right as that tornado warning was expiring for Butler County, this one was just starting to flare up. This particular scan, maybe not quite as intense as what the last one was, but this is what we've seen numerous times with these tornado warnings, is that the storms tend to cycle a little bit. So just because the rotation has gone down a little bit does not mean that the threat is over. Just to give you another refresher on what to do, you want to make sure that you're inside, lowest floor, basement, or just lowest floor is fine. And you want to make sure you're staying away from windows as well. That is the most important thing. And remember, too, that this storm is moving a little faster than the previous one. So the tornado warning that we were tracking over Butler County was moving at about 20 miles per hour. This one is moving at about double that speed at about 40 miles per hour. So with this storm, you're not going to have as much time to prepare or to see it. Stephanie, over to you.
So Addis, just looking at this here, moving through Muntown there, and that is right on Linden Road, Venetia Road, where you have that little bit of rotation right where that warning box is. So I'm looking at that very closely, where you have some rotation in this area. So moving into Venetia is right where that rotation is kind of indicated there on the radar coming out of North Strabane. So if you're familiar with the area, the McMurray area, this is headed off of 19 and tracking back towards Venetia in that area. Also the Bower Hill area you can see right there on the map. Stephen?
Yes, great zoom in perspective there on that particular tornado warning, Stephanie, giving folks the view. If we could drop that banner again, I'll just do a quick reset and let folks know that this tornado warning continues for another 19 minutes for, as Addis was saying, southern Allegheny, northern Washington, stretching over into parts of Westmoreland counties. The core of the storm was right over North Strabane, and it is still producing what appears to be a little bit of a couplet, not as distinct as what we were seeing when the warning was initially issued. And that's how the National Weather Service does issue the tornado warnings, either by a visual, someone has spotted a tornado, or by radar indicated. And that's exactly what we have going on right here with that area coming out of North Strabane. But 40 miles per hour, as Addis and Stephanie were saying, is faster than what we were looking at with the Butler County storm. So just to the south of South Park and headed east and to the northeast, West Newton, North Huntington. If the storm holds together, it could bring with it some rotation there. Taking it into parts of Washington County, as that part of the storm has held together, it is starting now to show a little bit more inconsistency, and that is what's concerning, because it's this is just a different image showing you inside the storm, but you can see the green and the red there closer together. Producer saying that we have a Bridgeville camera now on that 79, just some tremendous amounts of rain. Addis, that is one part of what we've been dealing with today. The difficulty maybe with so much heavy rain as the storms move through. Yeah,
lots of moisture in the atmosphere, Stephen, for sure. And that has been the concern as these storms move through, is you can't really see what's coming at you. Wanted to hop on just to mention that the National Weather Service is continuing the tornado warning. So just in the last couple of minutes, they put out an update on that warning box, saying that the warning does continue until about 5:30. Until 5:30, that tornado warning will continue for extreme southern Allegheny County and also down towards Washington County. So again, that circulation is now pushing to the east of North Strabane. The National Weather Service warning text said that the storm capable of producing the tornado was located over McMurray. Okay, so that is across northern Washington County. And the one thing I've been watching closely as well, it's not just the velocity, it's to see if we have any signs of possible debris being lofted into the air. You know, if you were watching us last spring, a lot of those tornadoes were actually radar confirmed tornadoes, which is when the radar detects non-meteorological material in the air. And so what you're seeing right here is pretty consistent. This is showing us that the radar is picking up mainly just some rain and maybe some small hail. Same with the last warning. There has not been any evidence of debris being lofted into the air. And at this point, we are closer to the radar here in northern Washington County. Remember, National Weather Service is in Moon Township, only about, let's say, 20 miles to the north. So if we did have some sort of a circulation that's in contact with the ground, there'd be a good bet that at some point we would see some sort of a ball show up here, which would indicate that debris being lofted into the air. Thankfully, we are not seeing that right now, but we just want you to be vigilant because on a day like today, these things can spin up quickly, and that is what we've seen happen here over about the last hour or so. Latest scan again, there's Gilkson, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. There's Peters, there's the Allegheny Washington County line. So those of you up in Bethel Park, you're okay right now. You mainly just have some rain and wind headed your way. That tornadic circulation is still just south of the Washington Allegheny County line. There's Venetia Road, Nottingham. It's just to the north of you. So again, if you know anybody in this area or perhaps out towards the Elizabeth Forward area as well, you want to make sure they know about this for at least about the next 16 minutes. We want to be on guard as this couplet continues to move to the east. When we're looking at the radar reflectivity, again, you can kind of see that hook signature, which represent where that rotation is. Bethel Park, you're about to get hit with some rain and some heavy winds in about the next, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes that will cross into Allegheny County right along the Mon River and affect parts of Elizabeth and Forward Townships as well. I'm going to step off to see if anything has come in the National Weather Service chat. Stephen or Stephanie, have you seen anything new?
Yeah, one interesting movement here, Addis. We've been watching that tornado warning. If you are still just jumping in with us or just jumping back in, tornado warning, southern Allegheny. And just to give you some perspective, here's Bethel Park, here's McKeesport. But within the last, say, 5 minutes, a little bit of a jog that might bring it into, say, Jefferson Hills, White Oak. As we take a look at the movement, it is still loosely connected, and I say that only because the radar images don't have a bright green next to a bright red. However, this is the core, and as Addis was just saying, and Stephanie, it is moving fast at about a 40-mile-per-hour clip. But if you are watching us from Union, it is a storm that likely will be crossing your path before the tornado warning is allowed to expire if it is not extended. So this tornado warning continues until 5:30. It is a Doppler radar indicated tornado with some rotation that was being picked up, and it will continue to slide east with a slight northeasterly jog, and that could begin to impact parts of Jefferson Hills, Elizabeth, if it is holding together. So watching from those areas, let folks know, maybe outdoors, the rain hasn't quite reached heavy yet there. Let folks know that that tornado warning is moving quickly in their direction. The broader perspective, what's been interesting with these storms, the way they're moving, the upper level winds have been pushing them fairly quickly, but there's been just enough movement in the winds in different directions. We call that shear, that has allowed some of these to begin to circulate or rotate. And this is what we were concerned about yesterday. Scott Harbaugh also talking about that possibility, and that is exactly what we were concerned about. Addis, if you have any, do you have any new information there, Addis?
No, it does look like the worst of that couplet was back towards Interstate 79. I'm just kind of looping back to see how the trend has been over about the last 15 minutes or so. I'm not sure if we could pull that up here. I wanted to show you at home. So when that tornado warning was issued at about 5 o'clock, you could see that brighter red signature there. So there were some pretty good outbound wind signatures here. And so this is where the rotation was strongest. So at this point, I'm willing to bet if we did have something touchdown, it was probably near Interstate 79, just to the west of North Strabane. But now it doesn't look quite as intense. You can kind of see that circulation is becoming a little more diffused. We're not quite seeing that brighter red or brighter green signature. So hopefully that is a positive sign, much like with what we said a few minutes ago with the Butler County storm. When we get close to the warning end time here, it'll be decision-making time for the folks at the National Weather Service, whether they'll actually extend this off to the east or perhaps cancel it if that couplet continues to show signs of weakening. At this point, it does not look like we have seen anything new come across the National Weather Service chat. Stephen, I'm going to send it over to you.
Yeah, the indications, Addis, as you were just mentioning there, with the weaker rotation, all indications are this will either be allowed to expire or canceled, the tornado warning. But if you are still watching us, some very heavy rainfall, potentially some rotation going on in a tornado warning that continues, expected to continue until 5:30. However, the National Weather Service indicating unless the next couple of scans show some more marked rotation, the tornado warning may be allowed to expire or even canceled prior. So the tornado warning for Allegheny County, also working into parts of Washington County. Basically, it's cleared most of areas east of North Strabane at this point, and the rotation that Addis was talking about and Stephanie were talking about, it's this area that does not seem to be quite as distinct, and that's why the National Weather Service will allow that potential storm to the tornado warning to be canceled or to expire. This is what we've been tracking here for the last couple of hours, and the bigger picture has really been one of a line of storms that developed roughly about 2 o'clock in parts of Ohio and has tracked rapidly eastward, produced some stronger downpours, some heavy rain, flash flood warnings still in effect, northern Butler or Beaver County stretching into Lawrence County and parts of Butler counties, while the southern tip of this system has had just enough spin with it that we've seen this most recent tornado warning fire up here starting at 5 o'clock, just as one other tornado warning was expiring in Butler County. Addis.
Just really quickly, Stephen, I just wanted to mention that we did get a storm report come in, reports of a landslide not too far from Butler. This is 4 miles south and west of Prospect. So earlier we were talking about that heavy rain and the tornado warning in Butler County. As of a few minutes ago, there's a reported minor landslide and a road washout near the intersection of East Lancaster and Yellow Creek Road. So just wanted to pass that along because it's not just the rotating winds, it's the potential for some heavy rain and some lightning that we've seen.
And some flooding as well, and that was that area that rotated through Butler, as Addis was just saying, with just tremendous amounts of rainfall. I know Fox Chapel had some heavier rain earlier, canceling field usage in parts of Fox Chapel this evening as a result of that heavy rain. We are looking at a tornado warning in play right now for southern Allegheny County, northern Washington, parts of Westmoreland. All indications are this will either be allowed to expire, the tornado warning, as we get to 5:30, or it will be canceled as a result of the loss of rotation within some of the storm that has really been the triggering point for the 2 tornado warnings that we've had within the past hour. There's Bethel Park, and once again, this is a look at radar seeing inside to grab which direction the winds are going. And this gives us a better idea of whether or not we have any strong circulation. And while we did have a stronger indication of some circulation earlier, it has weakened over the course of, say, the last 2 or 3 scans, and so the National Weather Service likely to allow that to expire. Stephanie.
Stephen, so just to give you an idea, we have this heavy rain as well moving through the air. We've been talking about that being a big part of this as well for folks traveling. It's a busy time. It's the evening commute, and you can see here a live look at Roslyn there on the Parkway West, showing you that we have some heavy rain coming down, ponding on the roadways likely. Just got some reports in from the Meadowlands area when that storm started. Very heavy rainfall came in about 2 minutes for heavy rain, and then those warnings went off, and so some gusty winds went through. We're checking on, of course, if there's any damage in the area, but folks in that area saying the rain came in, for 2 minutes, lightning, and the tornado warning went off. So we're watching this area here that still has that tornado warning on it, as you can see, for portions of Washington, southern Allegheny County, and portions of Westmoreland County. But along this line has very heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning with it. So remember, if you hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. So we have all of these different aspects with this storm kind of moving through. And you can see where the bulk of the heavier rain, that's right there with the warm front. And then back here off to the west, the reason that line is kind of sparked is associated with the cold front that is trying to push in here now for the evening. So, Addis, I think you have some more information for us now. What are you tracking?
So the tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire. So that has just come in here from the National Weather Service. You see that box still in effect, but that will soon be taken down. And we can get back to a regular newscast, assuming there are no other warnings issued. But I wanted to also just show you the progression of the heavy rain. Notice how in areas to the north, especially Butler and points north, that rain has just kind of been training and lingering for much longer. This is where we've seen that main focus for heavy rain over about the last hour or so. Yes, there's some heavy rain with that storm moving through southern Allegheny and northern Washington counties, but we have not seen as much rain. This is just over the last hour or so. Places to the north and west of Butler seeing about 2 to 3 inches of rain per Doppler radar estimate. So we've been talking about that flood threat, and this is exactly what we're talking about. This is also around where that flash flood warning was issued. So those of you especially along and north of Route 422, be advised that flood issue may linger here. Otherwise, as I just mentioned, the tornado warning that was in effect for Allegheny, Washington, and parts of Westmoreland County, this box right in here will be allowed to expire here soon. The National Weather Service saying over the last several scans that storm does not look quite as impressive as it was, which means the rotation is coming down, which is very good news, Stephen.
That is excellent news, Addis. And, you know, oftentimes people hear their phones go off, the warnings are issued, and immediately you take shelter and you start preparing as you should. But the definition of the tornado warning can either be one that someone has visually spotted, or it can be a radar indicated tornado. And a lot of what's been happening today as we've been watching are these lower type storms that the radar is able to pick up some of the rotation. But the strongest part of the storm that did have that really concise early rotation with it is now weakening, and so we're not seeing the brighter colors, the brighter greens and reds close together. We call that a couplet or a rotation, and that is not being picked up as well, and so that indicates that the tornado warning will likely be allowed to expire, as Addis was saying, as we approach the 5:30 hour. That part of the storm, the strongest part of it, even though there is no tornado warning, you're still about to pick up some very heavy rainfall in Greensburg. The line will track eastward into Trafford, running from Plum to Trafford. You can anticipate some very heavy downpours, likely as Stephanie was showing there on 79 as that part of the storm crossed through, likely almost making it difficult to see in points. So some reduced visibility, ponding on the roads, you're also going to encounter that, and the potential there for some hydroplaning if you are watching us from Trafford, Plum, and headed down towards Ross Traver. We're still awaiting the expiration of the tornado warning. Addis, you have some new information on that?
The official text says that the tornado warning will expire at 5:30, so technically still in effect here, but they also add that the storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits and no longer appears capable of producing a tornado. Therefore, the warning will be allowed to expire. Now, that tornado watch does continue officially until 8 o'clock, but I think, Stephen, we're going to start to see some counties trim back from that, given that those storms continue to move off to the east, and the storm threat is really coming down here within the next hour or so.
Well, that's terrific, as we seem to have seen the strongest part of this system now crossing through Allegheny County down to Washington, in fact, with that particular tornado warning. And back to the west, you can see there's not much in the way of brighter returns on radar, as these are just more isolated storms. These will track through, and in fact, not a lot of lightning with that particular line coming through there. Amy, tell me, give me that again, please. All right. We are awaiting the expiration of a tornado warning. This tornado warning will expire at 5:30 as we watch that part of the system that was producing the strongest part of the tornado or the signature has now decreased in intensity. So we're not seeing that rotation that we did. So we still have another coming up on 2.5 minutes of a tornado warning that was for southern Allegheny. And we will be back with more right after this.
Hey.